Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Hardfire TV. My name is Cameron Weber. I'm the producer of Hardfire. Thank you for watching our program. Today's discussion is another part of our series about uh, crony capitalism or
Mm.
political capitalism. The state gives special tax breaks and subsidies to certain well-connected businesses, and everyone else has to pay for it. Today's program is interesting in that it deals with the world's richest person who's going to be a trillionaire, I think, by the end of this month. Because he's taking, Elon Musk is taking Starlink and SpaceX public. And considering he owns, I think, 40% of the combined total, when they raise another, what, 300 or $400 million, that'll take him over the $1 trillion mark.
Good for him.
He's a Superman. Yeah,
Yeah, good for him.
but some people are envious of that and dislike Elon Musk for whatever reason.
I can't understand why anyone would be envious of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's it's a hard life to run all that, have all that going on.
It is. Exactly. Okay, so Musk business interests have received about $40 billion of taxpayer money over the last 15 years. The question is, again, what kind of political society redistributes wealth upwards? Why does everyone else, you and me, average people, unemployed, average people, self-employed, uh, why should we have to pay for Elon Musk's businesses? I never did understand that.
Maybe it's not about him. Maybe it's about the things, the innovations he produces, and that he can take that money and reinvest it in R&D for that could help us all.
Right. But what it does is it creates the welfare warfare state where everything's driven by the needs of the federal government of the nation state.
So are you implying that some of these capitalists are sort of manufacturing or promoting
War?
or any sort of larger trend that to potentially profit from that trend.
Yeah, I mean, who is the person that said beware of the wealth, beware of the military industrial complex? That
I
was
don't know. Yeah,
Eisenhower.
I heard
Eisenhower's
that before.
daughter. You never heard that before?
I heard that
Beware of
before.
the, oh, well, I think I like Ike. I think that's what he said in his farewell after he was president. That's what his farewell thing was: beware of the military industrial complex. So
What my grandfather, who I never met, was famous for saying
what's that?
about Eisenhower. It's a great country. It could run all these years with no president.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of missed that concept of having no president.
Yeah, right. Instead, well, now we have a
Too much
one.
president. Way too much.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was a good foil against the lying, cheating other party, but now he turns out that he's a warmonger like anyone else.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
military industrial complex got to him.
better at it. Yeah.
The military industrial complex got to
Yeah, I thought he was uncorruptible, but I guess
him. Yeah. All right. So let's look at SpaceX. SpaceX government launch contract. So Elon Musk has gotten almost $23 billion from who? From the U.S. Space Force, from the U.S. Space Force National Security Space Launches. He's got $6 billion for that. That's the top secret stuff. And then he also gets money for the Star Shield, right? Star Shield, which isn't working so great in Israel, I think, at this time. But
you got to work out the kinks. It takes a while to get things to work right.
Elon Musk hasn't been given enough money to really put
Yeah,
his.
if we subsidize him a little more, maybe he'll be able to
He
figure out
needs more incentives.
get those bugs out of the system. Yeah.
Right. So SpaceX gets money from the U.S. Space Force, the Department of War, and NASA. Right. So yeah.
And he also gets money from his own subscribers, right? From his internet subscribers.
Wait, say that again.
Doesn't he get money from his internet subscribers too?
Uh, Well, he has that drilling company.
But that internet, that Starlink thing, doesn't
Oh
that
yeah, yeah. Starlink and SpaceX are combined now.
yeah.
Starlink and SpaceX are combined, and they're being taken public this month, I think.
Mhm.
It's going to be a $1 trillion company, the largest initial public offering ever. So you can see how the US government agencies providing subsidies to SpaceX are military related. SpaceX,
I can see the crossover, yeah.
SpaceX is clearly part of the military industrial complex. Uh, Space Force and Department of War sound like something out of a Robert Heinlein novel. You know, it's dystopian. Good. Like Stranger in a Strange Land. Have you ever read that one, Derek?
I have not.
It's about space exploration and about how you have 20, they want to send 24 people to inhabit the moon, and then they choose the insiders get to go. And so it's all about, Robert Heinlein is great. He's a very good libertarian science fiction writer. And this stuff that's going on in SpaceX at the Rio Grande Valley and his town that he bought to influence local politics is straight out of
Mhm.
Robert Heinlein. And Elon Musk has acknowledged Robert Heinlein fan because in the Stranger in Strange Land book, they have this thing called grok. It's do you fully understand this to the point where you can become one with it, and that's called grok in Robert Heinlein, and and Elon Musk's
And that's his AI platform.
yeah his AI platform is called Grokopedia, which is good. Have you ever used Grokopedia? It's pretty good.
I've not used it, but I've seen it. I've seen what it could do. It really is like it's like your friend, but better and smarter.
And better than Wikipedia, better than a lot of AI because it uses non not all of the references are pedantic academics. In other words, it searches all over to provide. I mean,
The made up stuff, fake stuff. Yeah.
you ask, why does oh yeah, maybe it makes right. You have to be careful with AI, right?
But you
Anyway,
have to ask the right question to get the answer that you want.
exactly.
Yeah.
So as long as you know that up front, right? But I don't know if everybody realizes up front that you get the answer that you want, right? Okay. It's relevant to note that both Tesla and SpaceX subsidy programs are provided by the US government, and the states provide carbon transfers at the state level, which he's earned 6 billion in from Tesla, uh, are based on some type of belief in the public good. And I think you and I have done a show on the public good about how the definition of the public good keeps getting expanded.
Yeah. I mean, everything is public good, right?
Public good. Anything the state, the politicians want to spend money on, it becomes a public good.
For safety, for well-being.
Yeah, well, it's
That's it.
the welfare warfare state. It's like the paternalism, uh, from the cradle to the grave. Anyway, for Tesla, the public good would be subsidized pollution abatement, and then for
Mhm.
SpaceX, it's homeland security and national defense. So Musk seems to have captured both sides of the market, the environmentalism of the left and the militarization of the right.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that they very well played, very well played.
I think America needs more immigrants like that myself.
More corporate cronyism like that.
More immigrants who have the initiative to do that type of thing.
And they're such good being immigrants that the president thinks they're American.
Yeah, we won't mention the president's name on this show. We last show
No,
we last
no,
show
because that's going to make the show seem dated. Yes.
yeah, we try not to, one of our standard things on Hard Fires, we try not to mention the names of politicians
I
because
mean,
why?
we don't even get political. You know, we're an apolitical show.
We're classical liberals, which
Yeah.
believe that everyone should be treated equally under the law. Okay, so this back to SpaceX. This
Mhm.
national security category means that SpaceX has been able to avoid local actions against the environmental damage created by SpaceX operations along the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm going to put up a map that'll show you where exactly is uh, SpaceX, which is their star base, is what it's called. SpaceX's star base along the Gulf of Mexico in the Rio Grande Valley. And you'll see that from the map that it's called the Gulf of America. Well, it used to be called the Gulf of Mexico.
Formerly Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, now it's called the Gulf of America. Only if you use a VPN that's registered in the United States. Google shows it as Gulf of America only if you're in the United States. Anyone else using Google,
They're really caves, yeah.
right? Uh, cool. So SpaceX personnel populated Boca Chica, which is on the map. You can see that little red dot on the the very most southern county in the state of Texas is where along the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico um, is where is and so what Elon Musk did is he basically took over a small town there. A SpaceX personnel populated Boca Chica, renamed the jurisdiction Starbase, and incorporated as a municipality in May of 2025. This then has given Starbase the rights over the roads locally.
So privatize the roads, but not the way that we would want to do it.
Yeah, they privatize the roads. No, the public is paying for the roads. It's just that SpaceX gets to close them whenever they want.
Public subsidy, but private control.
Exactly, straight out of a Robert Heinlein novel. I won't give any historical examples, other types of historical examples. And then you can see that first the first newspaper article I'll put up shows how it was hard for any local for the local judge in this county to bring any lawsuits against Elon Musk's pollution because no one would claim jurisdiction. And so now the state of Texas created something called the Texas Space Commission, which has now given overtly SpaceX the rights to close the highways and the beaches unilaterally, depending on their missile launches.
The whole point of creating this agency was to give permission.
Exactly.
To give authority away.
Yes, to provide cover for what was going on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Texas is not as free market as you think. Local politics of the Rio Grande Valley and how this welfare warfare state occurs.
Sounds good.
Let's discuss the local coalition against SpaceX's hegemony in the Rio Grande Valley. We find that the South Texas Environmental Justice Network is the dominant presence in the opposition to SpaceX in the Rio Grande Valley. Okay, so and this not-for-profit is also against liquid natural gas, the other major driver of economic growth in the valley. And we know right now that liquid natural gas, LNG, is having a good war bounce, right? So you have this environmental justice work, South Texas Environmental Justice Network, which is preventing economic growth in one of the poorest areas or trying to prevent economic growth in one of the poorest areas in the United States. So you can see from the picture from their website that they're against the tax breaks, which we are against the tax breaks. We let the private companies do it, but just don't give them a tax break.
Give all of us the same tax break, and that's fine.
Exactly. Give us all the same tax break.
Fine. Why can't I have that for my business?
Yeah.
Or for my business?
Yeah. So the South. Okay. Let's look further at the South Texas Environmental Justice Network, a network of directly impacted people of color working towards environmental justice in South Texas, Rio Grande Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So you see this quite often where a group has a good idea, like not giving corporate subsidies, right? Or not having or having masked ICE agents kill people, you know, and then they ruin this good idea by then turning it into identity politics.
Well, sometimes people have a hard time keeping a protest to one single theme.
Right,
People
right.
have to link a bunch of related things together, and then it becomes harder to build as big of a coalition because you sometimes you'll get people to be onto one, but maybe you'll lose them to something else. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you see all those great, people against the illegal search and seizures that ICE is doing,
Mm.
and they create the signs and everything, and then below it says, Socialists of America. It's okay,
Yeah,
great. You're kind of missing, you lost me at Socialist America, and you lost me at identical politics, identity politics.
but not be that much. I mean, I guess the argument is that let's say they close the beaches or whatever,
Yeah,
they close the roads. Um, People who have less resources, economic resources, would have a harder time going around or finding an alternate beach to go to. So it impacts everyone, but if you happen to be poor or in this area, it would affect you more. I guess I could understand that concept. As I say, prevent me from joining the.
yeah, exactly. A good idea. Then, like you said, gets carried away. Right? Remake the whole world. Just okay. So you mentioned what exactly is SpaceX doing down in the Rio Grande Valley that people don't like. So let's look at that real quick because you mentioned it. I'm going to put it from Google. SpaceX launches in the Rio Grande Valley have caused significant environmental and structural damage near Boca Chica, including destruction of sensitive wetlands, fires in wildlife habitats, and the scattering of concrete and metal debris. Key impacts include 385 acres of affected land, noise exceeding 100 decibels, and frequent public beach closures, affecting local biodiversity and ecosystems.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine some sensitive habitat must be in that area.
there's a lot of sensitive habitat in that area, and uh, SpaceX has a waiver against doing anything about the environment.
A area
And
that none of us wouldn't necessarily have if we had our own business in that area. Mhm.
yeah, so and the problem with environmental damage, you can't bring a lawsuit against it. So there really is no teeth to prevent Elon Musk's SpaceX from running the show down there, especially because the Texas Space Commission gave them the right to.
Yeah, that's already responsible.
But, I should also say that the Texas stock market is growing almost twice as fast as say the S&P 500. So that, you know, so you have a trade-off between the economic growth and environmentalism. But a lot of people that I've talked to from the Valley appreciate the investment there.
Yeah, I can see how this would affect different people in different ways depending upon where you fall.
Yeah. So another coalition member in space again as part of the South Texas Environmental Justice Network is a local group called Save the Rio Grande Valley, which is allied with the Sierra Club. And the Sierra Club is for 100% clean energy, which excludes nuclear energy. So,
Mm.
Derek, you and I discussed this. We we
I
we
think so,
agree,
yeah.
we agreed that we have to have nuclear energy as part of the package, right?
Well, I mean, nothing is fully clean. There's no such thing as zero impact
Yeah,
energy
right.
source.
Yeah, zero
There's
carbon was this
Well,
utopian.
you have zero carbon, but you have other impacts. I mean, the idea of having zero impact I think that's a fallacy. You're going to have some impact, one way or the other. Just which kind of impact you're more comfortable with.
Yeah, but keeping it as what I'm called a bourgeois, what a vulgar economist will keep it in within the economic realm here. So the reason that the local people can't get traction against Musk is because SpaceX gave them the right, and they really don't have any material physical harm. It's just the
Well,
this
environmental damage may be hard to quantify in dollar amount.
yeah, because there was nobody there at all. This Boca Chica was the only town within many miles. You could see there was nothing there. The only thing that
No,
was there.
no humans, but it's hard to quantify the dollar amount of ecological damage. It's hard to
Yeah,
measure them.
Until people start getting cancer, you know, the next
yeah,
generation starts getting
yeah,
cancer.
measure, yeah.
Right. So the Robert Heinlein model would be to do all the development in space, not on Earth, which I guess is what SpaceX is trying to do. Is going to be go to the moon, or yeah, yeah,
Trash that like they trash Earth.
exactly. Again, straight out of Robert Heinlein. So anyway, this model of 100% renewable energy or zero carbon is a dead end. Thank you. Even Bill Gates admits that 100% renewable energy is no longer the solution. Derek, do you think zero carbon and 100% renewables is a pie in the sky, or do you think that's a goal worth?
I mean, it may be possible to have zero carbon, but you will have other impact. You will have other impact that we're not measuring in terms of carbon.
Yeah.
Well, one time for the other.
Speaking on the nuclear energy, I don't know if we talked. What do you do with the waste, the nuclear waste?
That's the thing. You have to store it somewhere, so it becomes a long-term storage risk. It becomes a security risk because somebody could bomb that.
Exactly.
These things could always leak due to earthquakes or other natural disaster.
Exactly.
You have to have buy-in for the generation that comes after you because it's going to be a long, long time. So there's no free ride. Everything
Yeah.
has an impact.
Speaking of SpaceX, what I think we should do with the nuclear waste is just load it all in a rocket, shoot it at the sun, and let it just explode into a million particles and go away.
The carbon footprint of that launch.
I know, right?
There's a lot of waste. It's like think
The
about
global footprint of that launch. Yeah,
to launch one rocket.
yeah. It's all about trade-offs.
Imagine the weight of that ship. Yeah. And imagine if there's like some kind of a launch problem, like a Challenger disaster with that waste.
Well, part of the joke and part of the game is the whole idea is to have the problems so that the problems can be fixed. But that's trial and error, and that should not have to be paid for by the taxpayer, the world's wealthiest person.
Some corporate genius can maybe, if they got enough investment, they could think of a way to mitigate some of this waste.
Yeah, right. If there was, yes, exactly.
If only we gave them enough funding.
Other people's money, right?
Yeah.
We also note that the Sierra Club, who's against Elon Musk's activity in the Rio Grande Valley, is supported by labor unions, and this is the connection I've been looking for. The people I know and speak to in the valley are pretty much pleased to see so much investment occurring at SpaceX, right? The local restaurants, the local hotels, the local home builders, local gas stations.
It's like it's people coming in and jobs and
huge,
income.
Yeah, huge salaries, huge salaries spending locally. However, so I've seen people are pleased with SpaceX and LNG. However, the unions are trying to block this investment, right? SpaceX and LNG exploitation are innovations which have yet to be mapped out into mass production. So therefore, unions have yet to be able to ply their trade of rent seeking. You don't have defined jobs, people doing defined things, so you can't unionize it. Right? So, if we can't unionize it, then we're not going to allow it to happen in the first place.
You're not going to want it, yeah.
Which is straight out of Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. So therefore, unions have yet to be able to ply their trade of rent seeking. Once something is established and profitable, the unions come in like blood-sucking vampires. Unions.
Technology is changing so rapidly.
Right.
Maybe you're not going to have maybe a generation ago, you had the same job title for 50 years.
Exactly.
That job title might not last 5 years in it now. That job won't exist anymore. So things change so rapidly. Yeah. It's going to be hard to apply that old-fashioned model.
Well, so that's good. That's called creative destruction. Maybe the labor unions are no longer necessary, right? 1 minute. Okay, so our director says we have just 1 minute left. Time flies.
So it does.
Yeah. So back to the environmental damage at SpaceX. It is American Indians whose land and spiritual beliefs are assaulted in the nation-state project. We find that one of the members of the Indian tribe against the destruction of the natural environment is also a co-founder of the South Texas Environmental Justice Network. So my question is, why would American Indians throw their beliefs behind Democrat-led labor unions? What have the Democrats ever done for the American Indian?
Not sure that they've done anything for them, but maybe in a more recent history, you have ICE agents questioning whether they're American. So I feel like something in that might stick in their mind. So not that the Democrats have done anything for them, but
Are you an American?
the other side has definitely done things against them. So in extremely recent history.
Yes, speaking of extremely recent history, I'm going to put up a picture of the current Secretary of War who gave a nice talk at the SpaceX plant. We'll just put that up there for grins. So so I've been informed we have just 1 minute left. Musk's firms have received about 40 billion in state subsidies, or about $120 per person for the 350 million people living in the US. Is this money well spent?
Well, that's for the viewers to decide. We've laid it out for them.
Yeah, I think that both you and I agree that the taxpayer should not be subsidizing businesses, be they American or not. And everyone should be treated equally under the law.
I agree.
All right. Thank you, Derek, for participating in today's discussion about corporatism in the USA. Thank you to our viewers. Each of our episodes appears on the Brooklyn Free Speech Network, both on cable throughout New York City and streaming through the Brick Arts Media House. We also have more than 50 programs about classical liberal ideas on our YouTube channel. Just search for Hardfire TV and Brooklyn Free Speech. Thank you again.
Take care.
What